Hey, friends, welcome back. It's Guess Who once again today, but today I have a different guest this afternoon. I have Alicia from the cutest name you've ever heard, y'all, Lavender and Lettuce Farm. She's up in Washington State. And, even when you have a small space, friends, I still consider that a farm. If you are growing flowers and selling flowers, you have a little flower farm. So, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Lisa. I'm happy to do it, and it's so great to be part of the gardening workshop community.
Yeah, great. Well, we're glad to have you here. So, friends, if you're new to us, my name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I am with the Gardener's Workshop. And this whole week, I have been talking to some of Jenny Love's students from her course, Farmer Florist School Online, The Wedding Process. And I'm just really learning a lot about Jenny and her course and how it has just made such incredible impacts on people's businesses. And sometimes it helps people find their way in a little bit different path than what maybe they thought when they first started taking the class. And I'm just really happy today to talk to Alicia, and she's going to share with us kind of. I want to learn all about her business first. But first, in case if you're not familiar with us, you can go to thegardenersworkshop.com and learn about Jenny's course is right there on the homepage, or you can go to our online course page. This course, even though it's called Farmer Florist School, the wedding process, it's in fact for any type of events. But I also, and I think we may hear here in a few minutes, because I believe that Alicia agrees with me, is that there is so much in this course that can be applied to lots of different flower farming, flower growing, flower selling businesses. So I just encourage you to have an open mind, because I think this course is packed with great information, even beyond weddings and events. So first off, tell us about that super cute farm name, Lavender and Lettuce, because I'm sure everybody is curious about that.
I was originally going to start a blog, and because I live on a tiny city lot, it's I think 5,200 square feet, 5,400 square feet. It's really
Right.
tiny, and so I've really maximized my space as far as growing vegetables and flowers. And I thought I should probably start a blog and start sharing some of this, growing in pots, growing in raised beds. And I wanted a cute name. I wanted a name that sort of stood out, that you could remember, that was kind of a play on words, and that was still flower related, because that's kind of my primary focus and for my blog. Well, that was, I think, over the winter of 2020. And I've always wanted to start a flower farm, but never thought I had the space, which I don't, but I do. and and I thought, is that really a good enough excuse to just say I don't have the room? And I thought I should just start where I'm at. And that was what I usually tell people when they want to start seeds. Just start where you're at, use the space that you have. And so that took me down the road of, well, do I call it a flower farm? Do I change the name? Do I just keep this lavender and lettuce that I spent 2 months trying to find? And so I decided to just keep it, and we'll just see where it took me. And so that evolved into the flower farm. And that was when I started in May of 2021. So I was a little bit late in the season to do the tulips and the early spring and all that. But I'm in zone 8B. So we can, get things started pretty early, even though we're not real warm. The 8B sounds deceiving, but we're in the Pacific Northwest, so we're quite cold. But
Right.
that's where the name came from. And I just thought I shouldn't let this hold me back. I should start where I'm at and grow. And I started on 5 20-foot rows, which was to me really big. And I maximized every square inch, everything that I knew about planting intensively. And then I expanded and I expanded. So that's where it came from.
That is pretty awesome. I mean, I think, when you think about what people name their businesses, people come up with names that are related to their location sometimes, if it's that thing. But I think that your name is really, 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 really cute. And I think it's easy to remember, and I think people will remember it. So, oh my goodness. So how you said you always wanted to be a flower farmer. So how did that happen? I mean, what did you see or read or meet? Who did you meet, or what started you on that journey?
I always grew things. Even in college, I had pots and pots of flowers and on my balcony, and my roommates thought, "What are you doing?" And every square inch. And I ran across an article in Sunset magazine, I think about Florette. And that was in 2015, 2016. And it kind of got me thinking. And I actually went to one of her on-farm workshops when she still had them, when she was still a bit smaller and she didn't
Right.
have the big super online course that she has now. And I just thought, that sounds really great. I'm not sure how I can make a living from it, but it sounds really great. That was kind of the early days of flower farming. And it was always in the back of my mind that maybe someday, maybe I'll have more space, maybe I'll buy a farm, maybe I'll buy acreage and I'll start then. And then when 2020 and the COVID hit, everything kind of changed. We all started assessing our lives. And
Right.
I was still working. I was still an essential employee. And I still work full time, what I'm doing. And that was going back to the blog thing. I want to do something with flowers. I don't know what it is. And then that evolved into, well, maybe I should just start with a micro farm. I don't exactly know what you call me, but I'm super tiny. But what's great about me is that there's a lot of local flower farmers, and we have the Seattle wholesale market. And so whatever I don't have, I can source easily. So I
Yes.
thought, what's really holding me back? Is it just a mental thing? And that was when I started.
That is awesome. So tell us a little bit more about your growing space now. You said you started with like 5 20-foot rows.
Mhm.
And I would imagine now you stand out on your porch looking at where else can I plant some stuff. So tell us about that.
Yep. So I started with that. Then I added another 15 feet at the end of the year. Then this year, I took over my entire front yard. So my front yard is 20 by 40. So that turned into a flower farming space as well. I put in raised beds. I put in 8-foot raised beds in the front, just so it would look a little bit prettier because it's my front yard.
Sure,
So
sure.
I wanted it a little bit nicer for the neighbors, not that they would care. But I have to be strategic in what I choose. And if it's not working, it gets tossed. That's how it works. It's got to, I mostly do the cut and come agains. I mostly do the higher end flowers that are ranunculus, the dahlias, the anemones, the tulips, things that are higher profit. And then I can source the filler and foliage from my wholesaler. That's
That
kind of my
is pretty
strategy.
awesome. So
Yeah.
for anybody that doesn't know, tell them what the Seattle market is. That's not a regular wholesale market, right?
Yes, the Seattle wholesale market, I think they've been around about 5 or 6 years now. So the co-op, they only source from not Seattle, but Washington State, Oregon. They source from California growers in the wintertime when there's not much going on here. And a little bit from Alaska, I think. But it's a co-op of about a dozen growers, and they all pool all their supplies, and it's all brought to their warehouse in downtown Seattle. So when you shop the floor, you're shopping all these different growers, but it's a whole warehouse of flowers, and it's great. It's
Yes.
fantastic.
I actually got to visit that. It's been, I think, so that was 2018 when my book Vegetables Love Flowers came out, because I was there speaking at the Seattle Flower and Garden Show. And Deborah Prinzing took me to the market, and it was a sight to behold. It was amazing in there. So it's all local. I mean, as local can be. It's all stuff
Mhm.
that's grown by other growers. All right. So you're expanding out in your city lot. And I'm just so inspired by that. I'm in the middle of the city also, but I do have more space than you. And I think this can be so inspiring to other people. And I don't know if you knew this or not, but Jenny actually got started on a community plot, that was very, very small. And that's what she grew from for the first 2 or 3 years of her life. So tell us kind of what your current markets are. We're going to talk about in a minute of how you took her class and kind of changed gears, I think. So tell us, who do you sell to currently?
So I sell through my website. So I do arrangements that I deliver Monday through Friday. And that's 100% of my business right now. And so I don't work weekends. I work Monday through Friday. People go on my website. It's 3 clicks and they have the order done and it's delivered. I deliver to my town and then one to the north and one to the west. So between those 3 towns, I think it's about 350,000 people that live in that particular area, but nothing is more than 5 miles from me. And
Wow.
so that's the advantage of being in an urban environment, is that
Yeah.
you can charge premium service product because that's what people want. It's funny because I actually started with a lower price point and I started having vase arrangements and bouquets. And it turns out that my customer base wants the service of a finished arrangement. And so that's what I pivoted toward. And not everybody's your customer, and you kind of have to just learn that your little niche of the market is what you focus on, and that's what flourishes.
I think I'm surprised too sometimes. Used to be when we had our members only market here on the farm, being in the city, and me figuring out a way to have this small market and keep in the city ordinances. And that meant only people that had pre-purchased basically came here to pick up their bouquets or to spend their share money. And it was so interesting that we kind of did something like that. We had a standard size bouquet. None of ours came in vases. And so we had a small size bouquet that was like $20. And that's typically what we would have ready made. And then one weekend, Suzanne, my sister, the bouquet maker, made this big, beautiful bouquet. I mean, it would have been like a $50 bouquet. And I said, well, let's just put it on the counter for decoration during the market. Guess what? She sold 3 of those. People said, I want another one like that. It's like we underestimate what people want. We let the price that we would pay perhaps hold us back, right?
Right.
So that's really, really interesting. So how did you come across Jenny's course?
Well, I've always followed you. Maybe not always, but the last few years you've been on my radar, and I've watched every YouTube video that you've had. And when I saw her, and I knew of Jenny, for some reason, she was also on my radar, probably because she's one of the pioneers of the flower farming community and she's well known. So I did know her, and I've read her blog. And when I saw the first year that she had, that you were, that she was one of your teachers. And I thought, that's interesting. And then when you get into this, you start to do the envy of Pinterest. And, oh, isn't that pretty? Look at the bouquet. And I wonder if that's what I should do. And I'm kind of serving a little bit of the higher end market. If you look at my website, a lot of my orders seem to be for events. People are having dinner parties and they want really nice, fabulous arrangements to put around the house. And so I'm kind of a little bit on that market anyway. And I thought, well, that'll be great. I should use my creativity. Maybe that's something for me. And I think if you're in this any amount of time, somebody starts asking you if you want to do a wedding. And you start thinking about it. And it's just sometimes the natural progression. And I thought, what if I should do that? And I love Jenny. And I thought, even if I don't do weddings, just having her feedback and inspiration and me being able to ask questions, and I'm sure I could learn a ton. That was what I thought going into it. And then, of course, when you're into it, it just goes above and beyond what you thought it was going to do. And, I just thought next time it comes around, I'm going to sign up. And I did. And I never regretted it. The first week I was all in. I watched it as soon as the courses would drop. I would skip work. I would watch them immediately so I could write down questions and get them in and just wait for the Q&A with Jenny every week. And it was really the highlight of that late fall, winter time. It really gives you a boost. And it was great.
And so you went into it not knowing if you were going to do weddings,
Mm-hmm.
but you came out of it not doing weddings, right? You kind of carved out your own niche.
Mm-hmm.
That's just really worked out for you, because I think you pointed out a really good thing that I don't think not everybody caught, but I caught it, is that you work Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
When you do weddings and events, that is not necessarily the case, right?
Right. And I originally thought, well, I could probably sneak in some weddings that are small. Well, actually, I usually work Monday through Thursday. So I thought it's no big deal. I can take off a Thursday. Maybe I can work a few Saturday weddings, some Friday weddings. Around here, a lot of people get married on a Friday for some reason.
Yeah.
And I thought I could do that. But then the more I looked at my life and I work from home mostly. So I can deliver arrangements on my lunch break. Being in the city, I can use DoorDash to deliver. There's a lot of options for just getting that done. There's not as many options for a wedding. And what's funny is that I originally thought, let's be open-minded. If I was going to do weddings, what would I do? And so I started planning the menu, and I started planning the color choices and some of the things that she talks about as far as being strategic. There's a whole course on just communication, which is brilliant. So
Yeah.
that course, or that section of the course, can be applied to any of your businesses, because that's really a lot of times what sucks you down as far as time is communication. Emails, phone calls, not having systems in place so that you can guide your
Right.
employees, if you have them, or customers through what you want them to do in a good way. You set up boundaries, and part of that really can be applied to anything that you do. And so just working through, if I was going to do a wedding, what would I do? It really changed the crop plan, even for what I did this year. Not that it's a farming course. I know it's not, or a
Right.
growing
Right.
course, but just being strategic and looking at your business in a different way so that you can, because time is money. And how I can use my tiny space to have a cohesive plan that works for me, that works for my lifestyle, that works for my boundaries and what my preferences are. And that's really some of the key points that I took away. And, being in a small, tiny urban, growing space allows me to pivot quite easily. If you're changing out your crops or you're making mistakes, you're making them on a much smaller scale. And so that's one of the advantages as well.
I think, you were so smart because Jenny does, I think, talks in the class about you don't have to grow everything, even though she does. And that's always been her goal for the maximum profit, right? But I think you're so smart. And there are more and more collectives and co ops popping up all over the country, like Seattle. So that is really that's a great idea that you grew what you wanted to grow and then filled in the cracks by other growers. That's really pretty awesome. So I brought up her syllabus of her course. And you're right, there's a whole week on, it's called, wait a minute, my phone is, here it is. My phone type is so small, I have to make it a little bit bigger. The week 4 is communicating with clients. And it's there's 9 sessions on everything. And I think you're so right. That just is so very, very helpful. So, what do you feel like the most beneficial, or what aspect was the most significant for you from the course?
I think seeing the big picture, because she takes you through everything from your serving your ideal client and being laser focused on what your segment of the market is, to marketing, to being strategic about what you're going to grow and what you're not going to grow, what service level you want to provide, all of that. Not to get into the nitty gritty of the courses, but it gives you a full picture of the entire process. I get why it's called the wedding process, because you really get A to Z. You really get to take you from start to finish. And the systems that she has is so key. Her email templates, the money side, the worksheets. I mean, I'm all about worksheets. That's what I do for a living. Monday through Friday is data. So give me more data. And the marketing side was really great. My particular business, it relies on Google. For the most part, I don't really, a lot of weddings do Pinterest and Instagram and all that for brides. But for me, because I'm being found online, Google is my number one source. And so she also has information about that. And I think just getting her take and saying that you design your business around your life and what your goals are, and fitting it into that is just phenomenal. Not every business is going to look the same, obviously, but even within the wedding sphere or event sphere, there's so many different ways to do it. And she really harps on that you can set this up and live the life that you want to live with flowers. And it can be profitable, super profitable, in whatever capacity you want to do it, and whatever service level and whatever your life is right now. And having the tools that I have, if 2 years from now I want to jump into weddings because things have changed a little bit for me, I feel completely empowered to do so. And I think that that's just, it's such a gift to have that confidence and empowerment and just
Right.
base.
So, for folks that are listening, we're talking about Jenny Love's online course, Farmer Florist School Online, the wedding process. It is a 6-week online course that each week for 6 weeks you get new content dropped into your library until it piles up deep, deep, deep after 6 weeks. And there's live Q&As every week, and you have lifetime unlimited access to all the course. That means you can watch it as many times as you want. Because I tell you what we hear over and over is it's like, okay, when I go to do XYZ, I go back in and just watch that little portion about maybe it's crafting a proposal or whatever it is that you need to do. It's super helpful. And anyway, so Jenny's enrollment is open now, and it's only open until Wednesday the 19th at midnight Eastern time. And the course is $695, and it is the best $700 you'll ever spend. I mean, I can say that for me as a business owner after 25 years of being in successful business, there is so much business building information in this course. It is really ridiculous. I mean, from the marketing, the equations to pricing, the templates for contracts, for email communications. I mean, Jenny is very systematic, and that's what kind of makes it easy. It's like you just sit down and learn the steps, and you can apply it to whatever your situation is. Don't you? Do you agree with that?
Oh, completely. Completely. It's funny that I actually have an MBA, and you think, okay, you should be set as far as business and marketing and all that stuff. Nope. First of all, it's hard to be objective about your own business.
Yes.
And secondly, even if you have that foundation, because of Jenny's experience in the business and having had it for more than a decade, she picks up on things that you would never think of, that you never even consider. And you thought, wow, that would save me so much time and money just learning those little tidbits. Sorry, every week. And
Catfight.
I know. I told you that I got from their nap and they're ready to go. But just having that insider knowledge is so valuable. Despite me having a business and marketing background in finance, I still learned so much. And so if anybody's on the fence about this, just the amount of time and frustration that you will save by being in this course is worth its weight in gold. It is fantastic. And, it's funny that going full circle, I decided that I didn't really want to do weddings because it doesn't fit in my life. And I pivoted toward doing higher end daily deliveries because that's what I was doing, but I just twisted it a little bit. I raised my prices, I upped the ingredients that I was using and the design aspect, and all of that came from her course, and it's been phenomenal. So I can still do the pretty wedding flowers and the creativity and that kind of thing, but I'm not locked into commitments of a contract, which is great. I'm sort of,
if you want to take a week off, you just, yeah, that is awesome. So we have a question here. With the online workshop offered by the Gardener's Workshop, is the class info printable, or does the student need to take notes while watching? It's a little bit of both. Family account on YouTube. So it is not, there are handouts, and I know that she has worksheets and they're PDFs that you can print out. And I will say that a new feature that we have added to all of our courses this last year, because we know from the metrics of seeing how people digest their courses, we know that most of the course material is actually watched and engaged after school is over. After people's kind of like skim it during school, but it's when they get down to the nitty gritty, they go back in and watch. So all of the courses, Jenny's now included, are timestamped. That means that we've had someone sit down and watch and timestamp each individual session to say, if Jenny's talking about X and that's what you need information on, you can quickly find that. So there is not a workbook that goes along, but there are handouts, family account. I hope that helps you. So that was really helpful information. Thank you so much for sharing all that. And What would you say to people if there's somebody's thinking about taking the course, if they're on the fence? What would your advice to them be?
I would just say go for it. Anytime that you're investing in yourself and your business, it goes back to you tenfold. Think about where you're going to be a year from now when you have this information and you've applied it. What's your business going to look like because of having taken this class? Do it now. Don't wait. I regret waiting till I had more land to start growing flowers because I thought you have to have a farm. I mean, who grows on 1,600 square feet? Even though my first year I started on 500 square feet. Just get started in whatever capacity and whatever time that you have, whatever space that you're growing in, get started and learn and pivot from there. Don't let anything stop you because another year will go by that you'll regret.
Yeah.
Just get going. And that's kind of what I've learned the last year and a half is why didn't I just start? 1,600 square feet, that might sound, it is tiny, but you're amazed at how many buckets and buckets of flowers I pull out of that space every single week.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do
totally
it
agree.
all. That's one of the lessons. You don't have to do it all. You grow, the higher end, or maybe you specialize in something and then you source the rest because as there's more and more flower farmers around you. But going back to the course, just go for it now. There's no time like today. And the frustration and the time that you will spend learning it yourself is not worth it. It is such a good investment. And it's just the perfect timing to do it now so that you can crop plan, you can strategize your business over the winter, you can do all those things that you can do during the slow season. It's phenomenal timing right now. And just do it now. And if you want to do events and weddings, as Jenny and Lisa have said, it's the perfect time. I don't do weddings, but I still get inquiries for them. So
Right.
it's the perfect time.
And you being an MBA in business, I feel like it helped, you can just kind of wander around, messing around, trying to get your business started. When you sit down and have clear goals of, okay, this is what I want to do, and you have an execution plan to do it, it propels you forward instead of spending time scrolling, reading. Can I believe this? Is this person really know what they're talking about? I know. I mean, I hear from people all the time that feel like they have wasted so much time and energy and money, buying stuff that they really didn't need or buying the wrong thing. So yeah, I'm just encouraging people that if you are a serious flower farmer, if you even think you want to do weddings and events, or if you want to up your game, the crop planning, the marketing, and the pricing equations in this course are just hands down the best.
Oh, completely agree. Completely agree. I mean, they are, and you can apply them to any business, like I said, events, weddings, daily deliveries, farmer markets. You can do whatever. You can take those same principles and boil them down to your individual
Yeah.
business. And it just, there is such a thing as information overwhelm. I mean, the web is a blessing and it's a curse because there's just
Right.
so much information out there, and what good and bad. And what this course does is just simplify it down and give you the tools that you need. Ignore this stuff, focus on this. Don't get distracted. This is really how you run a business, a profitable business. It really gives you the tools that you need to have systems in place, to save time, to be strategic, all of those things that mean the difference between failing and success, being more profitable, growing, but growing strategically and smartly, not just for the sake of growing.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I thought one of the features that I thought was really, because, I've never done weddings. I've sold to all of the wedding people in town. I had no interest in doing those because I always had this, oh my gosh, that would just be such hard work and it's all weekend work. But I will tell you, listening to Jenny's course of her taking you by the hand and walking you through, this is how you can do a professional DIY bucket. Then then you can take a step up and maybe do small weddings with just the personals. Then, I mean, it was like having somebody tell you, A, it's okay to not go full force, that there are levels that you can get into this business. And as we know, It's a fact that there is no more profitable way to sell your flowers than doing weddings and events. That's to get the maximum amount of money per stem when you do weddings with your flowers. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, as you have crafted for yourself, by not doing weddings, but making high-end arrangements. And it's, we don't know what we don't know, is what I think we're trying to say to everybody. There's just a whole nother world out there, and there is a roadmap, and this course has a roadmap to a lot of places.
Absolutely. And, Jenny touches briefly on the mindset part of it too, that, when you're getting into that, sometimes the higher end arrangements or the higher end markets, you think, is somebody going to pay this? I wouldn't pay this. But the thing is that you are not your customer necessarily, and your money stories are not their money stories. Just because I wouldn't drop $200 on an arrangement, I have no problem selling it, and customers have no problem paying it. And Jenny also talks you through that, you can start at the DIY buckets. You can go to the a la carte. You can do the full service. You can do in increments if you want to. But you have to get over that mindset shift of you are not your customer. And
doesn't that come with confidence as you learn more and learn that this is how the industry does it? And don't you think it just educates you and makes you a powerhouse of knowledge, basically?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yes.
That is really great. So how can listeners and viewers connect with you? I know they would love to see your website and see what you're doing. I mean, you're an inspiration. Small grower in the middle of the city on, growing on 1,600 square foot of garden.
Oh,
and doing it. And I think your model of growing what you can grow and selecting those crops and filling in with the cracks from, other local growers through the Seattle Wholesale House is really brilliant. That was a really good job.
Yeah, it's worked phenomenally. And I encourage anybody else to embrace this model and push for the local flower. As a tangent, right next to the Seattle Wholesaler is Mash. They actually share the same space.
Oh, yeah.
And because of that, and because of customers shop both floors, it's pushed Mash into stocking and sourcing from more local growers. And so that kind of thing, the awareness just pushes. So if you don't currently have a co-op in your area, now is the time is to get into the ground floor. That's a different tangent, but it's phenomenal if you have one available to you and you're a small grower. But getting back to your question, if they want to connect, my website is www.lavenderandlettuce, just spelled out. From there, you can join my mailing list. You can email me. It's hello@lavenderandlettuce.com. I'm on Instagram. I don't post a lot, but I'm at Lavender and Lettuce. There is a dot between, so it's lavender.and.lettuce. But if you just Google lavender and lettuce, I'll come up. So that's probably the easiest.
That's awesome. And you mentioned in collectives, we just launched an on-demand course by Amelia Ilo that owns Rooted Farmers. And that's the platform that connects farmers and growers, buyers and growers all over the country. And she did an amazing course on getting into a collective and what to expect when you participate. So you can find that as well as Jenny's course over at thegardenersworkshop.com. Jenny's course is only available once a year for 5 days. And we would love to have you join. I did an interview with Jenny earlier today, a Q&A. We kind of talked about a lot of the questions we're hearing from potential students. You can watch that here on YouTube or on Facebook. And we would love to have you join us. And thank you so much for taking time away from your busy day and your kitties. I heard her kitties. I didn't see them. So I appreciate you being here with us so very, very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much, Lisa.
All right, friends, till we meet again, and you'll be hearing from me yet again. Not today, probably, but maybe tomorrow. So I'm loving talking to Jenny's students and really flushing out what they've learned and how it's impacted their business. So we appreciate it so much. All right, friends, until we meet again, ciao.